Berta J, and I'm back in my kitchen. Hey, sometimes you gotta mix up things, not do it all the same every time. Did you like that? Anyway, today I'm gonna share with you this recipe that I've been wanting to share with you for probably a year, because I've been making it and I really like it. I got it from PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, led by Dr. Neil Barnard. It's a wonderful organization. I'll give you the link below and you can read about it and stuff. But this came from the 21-day kickstart that they have, and they call it Fakin' Bacon, but I'm going to call it just plain old tempeh bacon, because you use tempeh. This is kind of what it looks like. This is 5 grain. It's got those little black seeds in it. Normally it's just plain without the black seeds, but I thought I'd try the 5 grain this time. And it's by Soy Boy. That's what this one is. And then, but my favorite is just plain old, it's called Light Life, and it doesn't have anything extra in it. The first thing you do is you're gonna take this, and I take the tempeh. I always use my bread knife because it always seems to be sharp and it's nice and skinny. It can go through this. But if you've got a slicer or something, you can use that. But you're gonna cut slices. This is gonna be skinny bacon. And you're just gonna cut right down. That's what you're gonna want it to look like. How do you use this bacon? Any way you would use bacon if you were eating pork bacon. You can put it on salad. I'm gonna make a sandwich at the end, and I'm calling it my TLT, my tempeh, lettuce, and tomato. Once it's all cut, I'm just gonna set it aside right here. The next thing you do after cutting the tempeh into strips, like bacon, it's gonna be a little bit skinnier, is you take a teaspoon each of fennel seed and cumin seed. And what is gonna happen next is going to be the basis for the taste of this tempeh, which is gonna be bacon, okay? So we're gonna take these over to the stove over a medium-high heat, and we're gonna toast it, okay? It's gonna start to pop. It's the seed. It takes about 6 minutes to do this. But don't go anywhere. Stay close to your stove. It may start to smoke, but just turn it down. You hear it popping a little bit? So after you've toasted it, let it cool down a little bit, a couple minutes. And that's what I had to do, because the next thing you want to do is grind it. Now, you can put it in your blender and do it, but it's got to be ground down because it's going to be a part of a mixture that goes with that to make it taste more like bacon. I'm just using my coffee grinder to grind these up. You can use your blender or your food processor, but you want to make it into like ground. Probably could use your mortar and pestle as well. Okay, put the top on and we're going to just let it process. Anyway, you're going to scrape it all out of the top. Just make sure you get it all out of whatever it is that you're going to grind these 2 seeds in. Now that that's done, you take a bowl, 1 cup of water, and then you're going to add a ½ teaspoon of liquid smoke. In this container, I put my salt and pepper. It's a ½ teaspoon of salt. It's going to be salty because it's supposed to be bacon, but if you think that's too much salt for what we're doing, you can cut your salt down to 1/4 teaspoon or 1/8 teaspoon. But I'm using a ½ teaspoon, and then just a pinch of black pepper. And the last thing, well, this is not the last thing. There's one more thing we have to do. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of ground sage. So now you've got all your spices in. The last thing you're going to add are 2 cloves of crushed garlic. And I found that if you just use your garlic press, that's what I'm going to do. You probably could just cut it up yourself. I have a video on crushing and mincing. You could mince it or maybe cut it very fine, but what you want to do is make sure you crush it and up. You want to cut it up enough so you get the taste of that garlic in there. So I'm going to do that. You're going to cut off all this wonderful garlic right there. And then put the other one in. No, don't have to peel the garlic. You don't have to do anything, because once you put it in that little slot and you press it, the skin comes off. See? And you're going to put in this the two seeds that you ground up. That goes in. I think it gives this bacon a really wonderful flavor. This recipe, I have to admit, is kind of labor intensive. It's not going to stir up really well. You're going to take it to the stove. Take your pot. I'm using I think this is an 8-inch or a 10-inch cast iron pan. But you can use like your favorite pan, whatever it is. And you're going to take this whole mixture and pour it in. And get it all, because there's a lot of stuff clinging to the sides. And the next thing you do, before you put this in, you take it to the stove and you bring it up to a boil, bring it back down to a simmer, and then you put that in. If you will put a lid on your pot, on your frying pan, you'll find that the boiling will happen sooner. Or when it looks like this, you're going to turn it down to a simmer, and you're going to start placing your strips in. Don't cover it. This liquid will evaporate, and what you'll have left is all your spices. So you put it on to simmer for 15 minutes total, but you're going to go and turn it over at about 8 minutes. Then let it cook for another 7 minutes. Once that's finished, you know it's done, because all of the liquid has just dissipated. It's faded. It's gone away. All you've got is a lot of spices that are clinging to those sliced up pieces of tempeh. If the water dissipates, just pour on like another half of a cup. After the 15 minutes, you'll take and put your tempeh on a parchment-lined baking sheet, and you will transfer all the tempeh on your baking sheet into it's 450 degrees or broil. You're going to broil it for 9 minutes on one side, then you're going to flip it over, broil it for 9 more minutes on the other side. And then when you do that, this is what you'll have. It's not crispy, but it's browned, much browner than it was when it was in the pan. We're going to construct the TLT now. I'm just using 2 slices of bread, toasted a little bit. I think I told you guys, but if I didn't, I'll tell you again, that I like to use just put on your favorite salad dressing. I'm going to pour on the Engine 2 salad dressing that I made on the last live show. It's real simple, but I use it as a mayonnaise all the time because I like the taste. Okay, so put some of that on. Then you're going to put some tempeh on. Usually can do about 4 strips. Okay, so that's the first T. Here's the L, which I just love romaine lettuce for sandwiches, so I like to pile it up kind of high. But you put on as much lettuce as you want, okay? I'm using these little cherub cherry tomatoes because I really like them. But as with everything Berta J does, she's going to mix up some of the tomatoes and put on some cherubs and then put on a sliced on the vine tomato. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the sandwich in half. Okay, so that's the end. And I'm going to taste it. I close my eyes. I don't see anything around me. And my taste buds really get livened up. It's really nice. The crunch of the lettuce and tomato comes in. And then this is salty. It's really, really good. And I slightly toasted the bread. This is a really, really good sandwich. And it's the tempeh that I think that, of course, that makes it. So, with all that said and done, don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell so you can receive the notifications when a new video is uploaded. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Forget to leave comments. And don't forget to go over and visit our Amazon store. I have some other things that I want to put in there. I think groceries can go in there as well, so I'm going to put maybe some tempeh and some different things in there as well. Let me know if there's something you need. And that is it. We're completed with this delicious tempeh, lettuce, and tomato sandwich with tempeh bacon. Okay? So until next time, from my kitchen to yours, Berta J saying to you, bye for now. For those of you who stuck around until the very end, probably wondering about this single little leaf in this glass. So I want to tell you a funny story real quick. Today was my day to make my 2 bowls of greens. When I opened up my container of arugula, this fell out. Now, I think this is kale because of the curliness of it. It could be a small piece of collards, but I just thought it was too cute just to just toss it or something. So I stuck it in a glass, and I'll probably throw it in some greens or something that I'm making. But I just thought you would like to know. That's why this was here instead of my celery.